Patrick to the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. for fourth,
two of them at one time.
Stewart for third.
Welcome to Good Runs. My name is Mex. In this continual series, we're shining the spotlight on an isolated great or unexpected breakout performance from a driver. In this installment, we'll be taking a look at Danica Patrick in the 2014 5-Hour Energy 400. When you ask a casual NASCAR fan their pick for most overhyped driver of all time, the pick will likely be one of two candidates. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who, to his credit, had multiple championship caliber seasons and 26 career wins. Yeah, he wasn't his dad or anything, but he was definitely an above average driver. The other pick would be Danica Patrick.
Danica Patrick is for real, and she leads.
Former IndyCar most popular driver Danica Patrick had a respectable, if inconsistent, IndyCar stint.
Danica Patrick coming out of 4, and boys, move over. The lady is coming through. Danica Patrick wins at Twin Ring Motegi.
Her lone win came at the 2008 Firestone IndyCar 300 at Twin Ring Motegi, but she hit the worldwide spotlight again when she announced in August 2011 that she'd be throwing her helmet in the ring full-time in NASCAR. She had already been running some races here and there, and at times she impressed, finishing 4th at Las Vegas in 2011, but her first full Nationwide Series season in 2012 wasn't anything special though, collecting only 4 top 10 finishes, but get this, 22 top 20s. Despite the criminally mid Xfinity season, Danica was promoted to the Cup Series, being selected to drive the GoDaddy number 10 for Stewart-Haas Racing in 2013.
And knocked the boss off the pole, yes! 45.817, 196.4 miles an hour.
At first, it seemed like a dream season, as Danica qualified on pole for the 2013 Daytona 500, and then backed that up with an 8th place effort, leading 5 laps in the process, making her the first woman to ever lead the Crown Jewel event. But after that,
Danica Patrick and Landon Castle with an extended tangle.
Well, rule number 1 of stock car racing is learn how to wreck someone without wrecking yourself.
the honeymoon ended pretty quickly. Her only top 10 and laps led of her rookie season would be the 2013 Daytona 500, and that's it. 9 DNFs, only 12 finishes on the lead lap, and only beating out 3 other drivers in points that ran every race, all while driving equipment that had been competing for championships years prior. But the worst part of it is that she showed little signs of improvement as the season progressed. Nothing about her performance screamed top prospect. The next season, however, she began to show a tiny bit of improvement, finishing races more consistently, being caught up in less accidents, but she was still slow. She would finish races multiple laps down on pace alone and just didn't have the raw speed to compete. While admittedly her team cars of Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart were kinda off this year as well, they were still far outperforming Danica by race 10. In the 2014 Aaron's 499, she actually led 6 laps. This was, by the way, the race famous for Josh Wise's Dogecoin car, before finishing 22nd, having avoided the chaos. And she entered the 2014 5-Hour Energy 400 in Kansas 29th in points, needing a massive season turnaround to qualify for the 2014 playoffs, as well as the All-Star race the following week. Top contenders for the season at this point were Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, and Kyle Busch, who were all in a near deadlock for the season points lead, with Carl Edwards and Dale Earnhardt Jr. tied for 4th, not far behind. Danica started 10th for this race, but it was Kevin Harvick that led them to the green flag to start the race.
Tonight, it's boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing on for all you mothers.
By lap 8, Danica had dropped to 12th from her 10th place starting spot, but she wouldn't be here for long, as by lap 28 she's shown on the ticker having recovered to 9th place. On lap 39, Danica is shown on the broadcast running down Jamie McMurray for 8th, right before a round of green flag pit stops began. Carl Edwards and Jeff Gordon both lead a lap during this cycle. Brad Keselowski ends up staying out long enough for Clint Bowyer to spin down the backstretch, drawing the caution while Keselowski was the only car on the lead lap. Kevin Harvick gets the lucky dog, well, get this, running 2nd place.
Race so far, because Keselowski was the only car on the lead lap. Harvick is our Aaron's lucky dog. You don't need credit, all you need is Aaron's. So he will get to come around, and Larry, I think you're right. It's the first time in history the lucky dog car will start on the front row for the restart.
The rest of the field takes the wave around to get back on the lead lap, and Keselowski leads the field back to the green flag on lap 53. Harvick retakes the lead a lap and a half after the restart. On lap 59, Danica is shown in 12th place, just before a massive wreck on the front stretch when David Reagan got loose, collecting Ryan Truex, Michael Annett, and Landon Castle. During the caution, Kevin Harvick stays out to lead the field to the restart on lap 67. Danica Patrick restarted 14th. A chaotic few laps following the restart leads to the 11 of Denny Hamlin spinning on lap 72, drawing another yellow. Danica Patrick rolled off 11th on the lap 75 restart, with Harvick still the race leader. Danica Patrick gets her first shout out from the booth on lap 80.
I know we still have a long way to go, but Danica Patrick in this 10 car, this may be the best run I've seen her have.
Patrick is shown again running 10th behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. on lap 95, then again on lap 99, just before the leaders begin their next round of green flag stops. During the cycle of pit stops, Carl Edwards leads a lap, then Joey Logano, having a true breakout year, claims the lead on lap 102. Joey Logano leads up to the next caution when Marcos Ambrose spun his DeWalt number 9 through the front stretch grass. During the caution, DW fills dead air on the broadcast with an awkward random laugh. Dale Jr. takes 2 tires and leads the field off pit road. In an oddity for this race, the caution is actually extended due to track lights on the backstretch going out. NASCAR actually has to end up polling the drivers to see if the track is bright enough to continue racing. In the meantime, the broadcast interviews Danica's crew chief Tony Gibson. The drivers elect to restart the race despite the lower light on the backstretch, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads them to the green flag. Then Joey Logano runs down and passes the 88 of Earnhardt Jr. on lap 123. Chris Myers gives another shout out to Danica Patrick on lap 138 on the mid-race report.
And Mike, Danica Patrick trying for her best finish of the year just moments ago, moving into 9th. She's been running in the top 10 throughout the late afternoon and evening.
And during commercial, Kasey Kahne takes the lead from Logano to put the Hendrick number 5 out front for the first time of the evening.
What a run for her tonight. Gosh, this is by far and away. Oh, trouble down here, turn 4.
On lap 150, Danica is given another shout out by the Fox broadcast booth immediately before Jamie McMurray blows a tire and hits the turn 3 wall hard from the 4th position, ending his elite performance of the night. Benefiting from this is Danica Patrick, who gains another position from his misfortune. During the pit sequence, Logano assumes the lead for one more lap, but Kasey Kahne leads them back to the lap 159 restart. Danica Patrick restarted 6th. Joey Logano battles with the 5 car and assumes the lead on lap 162. Danica Patrick gets another shout out on lap 163.
Patrick moves around the outside of Logano and moves into the top 5.
She's having a run of this is a run of the year for Danica, no question about that.
Now being shown in the top 5 for the first time of the evening. She gets even more praise on lap 168 as she continues to pick up the pace, running down 4th place Dale Earnhardt Jr. With 95 laps to go, Danica Patrick probably makes the best racing move of her career.
Patrick to the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 4th,
2 of them at one time.
Stewart for 3rd.
You know, they said that Kevin Harvick sat down with Danica yesterday and really went over this racetrack like with a fine-tooth comb.
Taking both 4th from Dale Earnhardt Jr. and 3rd from Tony Stewart in one single pass. The caution is drawn again on lap 180 for Kurt Busch's spin. Jimmy Johnson leads his first 2 laps under the yellow, and Kyle Busch leads his first lap of the evening as well. Danica gets another mention from the booth under the yellow with 84 to go, and Jimmy Johnson leads them to the restart with Danica Patrick running 6th. The caution comes back out again on lap 187 for a massive crash involving Justin Allgaier, David Reagan, AJ Allmendinger, David Gilliland, Paul Menard, and Casey Mears. The contact between the 38 of Gilliland and the 51 of Allgaier being particularly frightening. Jimmy Johnson leads them back to the restart on lap 195 with Danica restarting in 8th place, and Logano makes quick work of Johnson to reassume the lead. Another caution is drawn on lap 203 for Kurt Busch's 2nd solo spin of the night.
And that's Kurt Busch again, off turn number 2.
Yeah, that car hadn't been right.
Joey Logano restarts from the lead on lap 208. Patrick again restarts in 8th place. Kevin Harvick quickly reclaims the lead from Logano, proving himself to be the one to beat tonight. Patrick runs around 10th for the next few dozen laps as Jeff Gordon begins to cut into Harvick's lead. With 30 to go, green flag pit stops begin for the final time. During this final round, Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth pick up a few laps out front before Johnson takes the lead again, still needing to make his final stop. With 14 to go, the first car good to go on fuel is Jeff Gordon, followed by Kevin Harvick. On lap 255, Danica is good to go on fuel and runs in the 11th position. Johnson then pits, relinquishing the lead to Brad Keselowski. Keselowski pits a few laps later, giving the lead to Jeff Gordon with 8 laps to go. Harvick tries to cut into Gordon's lead, but it would be a fruitless endeavor despite his best efforts on the last lap, and Jeff Gordon would go on to claim his first victory of the season and his 89th career win. Danica Patrick passes the guy that would eventually replace her in that car Eric Almirola with 5 to go, and she comes home 7th for the first top 10 of her season.
And how about a career best finish for Danica Patrick in that 10? Finished 7th.
The bar had been set very low for Danica Patrick after her first few seasons in NASCAR had proven to be unimpressive. Chatter from the fans at this point would say that this top caliber ride had been given to an ultimately undeserving driver who had done little to prove herself worthy, and the statistics had ultimately backed those claims up. Standing out on her resume was this Mother's Day Kansas race in 2014 where she showed an isolated spark of true brilliance behind the wheel. While I don't disagree with the claims that a more deserving driver probably should have been given this ride after a couple of seasons of struggle, this was still during that probationary period where you could argue she still had a shot to prove that she had it. Ultimately, however, Danica's career is more highlighted by her wrecks and controversies rather than her achievements, which is a shame, and should not set the standard for other female drivers who come into motorsports. Every motorsport driver, regardless of background and identity, should be graded on the same scale. How is your racecraft, first and foremost? It's a very different beast from hot lapping, and is a learned ability. And then the different factions of racing have completely different racing styles. Drivers who excel in open wheel may not have as easy of a time adjusting to stock cars and vice versa. This isn't to say, however, that fans can't use an example like Patrick to feel a sense of pride and inclusion. Hell, I'm still pulling for Devin Rouse, but I, as an LGBT identifying person, don't want the first LGBT driver who gets a full-time ride to be known for sucking. We don't remember Vanilla Ice for being the first white rapper. We remember him because he was white and he sucked. But the marketing hype of Danica is the only reason she got to stick around as long as she did, and she will be forever remembered for it, for better or for worse. In her 9-year tenure within NASCAR, she collected only 1 top 5 and 14 top 10s across both the top 2 divisions, and this 7th place effort would go down as her best career finish. I hope y'all enjoyed this little racing story. I want to do more of these, but consider this. If only half my current subscribers either became a lowest tier member or a $1 patron, I'd be financially set to make videos like this and other essays as my full-time job. That'd be amazing. Now, of course, if you can't make a monthly commitment, I do encourage tipping via my Ko-fi or my PayPal, which are both linked in the description. And of course, if you can't financially contribute, no problem, just leave a like, share, and subscribe. Definitely share across Twitter if you're still on there, because I don't have a platform there. But anyways, I'll see y'all next time. Take it wheezy.